Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Aga.
Hello.
Okay, today we are going to talk about design thinking as a human-centric approach. I'll be doing some small talk, let's say, following the presentation, and later on we'll be having some small discussion. Then, if there are questions on this part, I just stop me because I won't ask you the question for this part because I'll have a place for where we are going to discuss about it. But if you think there are things in the talks here in the presentation where you need more clarification, just stop me and we can discuss about it before I move forward. Right? Okay. Design thinking as a human-centric approach. This is the plan of the presentation. We are going to have like what is design thinking. I won't really insist on this part because we have been talking about it since the two last classes. Then we have a small idea about what is it. I will just show you the definition from a different perspective as far as the article is concerned. And we are going to talk about human-centric design by Ideation. Ideation is the company from our case study, the article that we have. Then I'm going to actually try for us to discuss what is design thinking from the approach of Ideation. And then we are going to have like a design thinking process. What is the design thinking process, and also how can we customize this process depending on the case that we have? We'll be seeing that generally you have the whole process, or we have what we call the traditional approach or the traditional process. But some organizations are trying to customize this approach, but in general, we have the same idea. No matter, some are making the process a bit longer, others are trying to contract the process, but in general, we have the main component of what we have on the traditional approach of design thinking. And as I mentioned, we are going to have some small discussion. What is design thinking? As I said, this is a definition that we have from Ideation perspective, the CEO from Ideation, Tim Brown. I won't try to understand the definition as a whole. I would like us to have the understanding of the concept that you are seeing highlighted on this definition. Then, first of all, it's design thinking as a human-centric approach to innovation that drew from the designer's toolkit to integrate the needs of people, insisted on it, the possibility of technology, and the requirement for the business success. Then, this human-centric approach, and we already discussed about this aspect of human-centric approach design thinking, but what's specific about this human-centric approach is that we're combining three main things. We are trying to combine the needs of people. What do you need exactly? What the customer needs? And we try to see how this need can be combined with the possibility of technology. Do we have in place technology that can be used to fulfill this need? How can the current technology can be used to answer the need, to work into providing, to fulfill the need of the customer? And also, who are the people putting in place or engaging this technology? Generally, they are companies. How can we also integrate in this need, like the requirement of the business, knowing that business, the reason being of the business is to make profit, is to be sustainable? How can we combine these three aspects? Customer needs, like people need, the possibility of the technology, and the business success, the requirement for the business success to make a whole. Then these are the three things that the design thinking is trying to merge together and to put together and to come out with the solution. And this solution, we can have it in this, like, these are the business case, business viability, people desirability, and the technology feasibility. And here we come out with, how can we make it? Okay. Then, in this intersection of these three requirements, we came out with the experience innovation. That is the beginning of design thinking process. Okay. That's it. I'm going to show you a bit about this small video about the design thinking process as viewed by Ideation.
tailored to meet their needs. When you understand the people you're trying to reach and then design from their perspective, not only will you arrive at unexpected answers, but you'll come up with ideas that they'll embrace. Human-centered design is both how you think and what you do with it. It's a process that consists of 3 phases: inspiration, ideation, and implementation. The inspiration phase is about learning on the fly, opening yourself up to creative possibilities, and trusting that as long as you remain grounded in the desires of the people you're designing for, your ideas will evolve into the right solution. In the ideation phase, you come up with lots of ideas. Some too crazy to work, some too crazy not to try, and you'll refine them, tossing out the bad and improving the good. Making things helps you learn, grow, and test your ideas. Building a simple prototype gets your idea tangible and gives you something to put right back into the hands of the folks you're designing for. Without their input, you won't know if your solution is on target or how to evolve your idea. Keep iterating, testing, and integrating feedback until you've got everything just right. During the implementation phase, you'll build partnerships, shore up your business model, and get your idea out into the world, which was always the goal in the first place. Anyone can practice human-centered design, and everyone benefits, because it gets us all to solutions that are adopted and embraced.
Thank you. What are the 3 phases of design thinking that we identify here from the ideal perspective? Yes.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
Ideation and implementation.
And implementation.
Yeah.
You see, it's quite different from the 6 steps that we have as a traditional process. But isn't different, but we are going to see that actually this is like just a combine of the different steps from the traditional step of design thinking. That's why we are going to have like an ideal process versus traditional process of design thinking. The ideal process have the inspiration phase, and on the inspiration phase, you have like choose a design challenge, like exactly what's the problem for which we have to bring a design solution. Then be able, like ideation, the phase of trying to brainstorm what are the possible way of coming out with the possible solution. Implementation, trying to test and come out with the final product. And we have this same, like, I'm trying like seeing from the traditional process, we have the different still like inspiration combined the empathize phase and a define phase. Ideation take also a part of define, ideate on the traditional process. The implementation phase take prototyping and test and coming back if there's something. Then ideal process is trying just like it's kind of precision, like combine of all the normal design process. You will see other company will be other approach on the processes. Will be have like 9 steps. But if you look in general, all those steps are just trying to become a variant of the normal, the traditional design thinking process. Now, let's go into detail what are the different steps. What are we doing in the different steps as per IDEO? Inspirational phase, like observe and listen the context. When there is a problem, we need to understand exactly what's the problem about. We need deeply to like trying to get close to people who are working in the environment, trying to empathize with them, trying to understand exactly what is their feeling, what's the situation that they are facing. And this can be done only through this observation, listening ability to explore analogies, like we're trying to put ourselves in a different situation. How can this problem be seen in another context? Then we have image yourself, like trying to be in the place of the person. Like when we're talking about empathize phase, like putting your shoes in other people's shoes, like be in the real situation and trying to feel what other people feel. to see exactly what's the problem. Because if you want to design a solution, you have to like, okay, I was in this situation, this is what I felt. And if I want a solution to this problem, this is how the solution should look like. Then also I've been in this weird situation. Interview, let's say this phase, gather more solutions. Then now, when we have this, we go to the ideation. And the ideation is consisting mainly of brainstorming of the possible way of the possible solution that can help. And then defer judgment. And during the brainstorming phase, no judgmental. Every idea are welcome. Just gather as much idea as possible. And then encourage wide idea, as I mentioned. Be visual. What have you seen? What have you observed in the situation? Like, go for quantity, not quality. It's not a step of trying to say, okay, this idea is not good, this idea is not good. No, trying to gather as much idea as possible, knowing that you'll be having the opportunity to. Yeah. Okay, stay focused on the topic, and then the last step, implementation. On the implementation phase, we have build the experiment. What can we come out with, like a kind of experimental solution? Expect change. This is not the final idea, this is not the final solution. You have to test how the solution works and be ready to change. And define the sensibilities. What are the points where we can have some changes or what that can not work properly? Then these are the 3 phases that we have. And from this, I'm like to really well understand exactly how this process of empathize work, to ask you some questions. What does empathy mean to you? Yes,
it's like what you said. I always use this expression: putting yourself in the shoes of others. Yeah, it's always a good thing to try to put yourself. It's not the same, but you're trying, because you will feel what he's feeling, or what you will feel what he needs really, and it will help you to be to adjust what you are doing or what you will do. So I think like this. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I would say not having preconceptions when you are dealing with anyone, and stopping the thoughts and just receiving it, and then you can analyze it and see whatever suits you, instead of coming and having preconceptual thoughts about it. I think this is what really empathy is, and I think it's expecting honesty from you first, not from the other part.
Okay, then mainly you have to clear what you have in your mind, what thought you have, and
You don't
feel the
get
real
why.
situation. Okay?
You have to receive.
For me, it's understanding emotions, others' emotions, and it's the most tricky part, because it's not math, it's not equation. It's quite difficult to figure out what somebody else feels. Yeah, but sometimes people say things that they don't really feel, because they are even not aware of that.
I'm taking from Lucas' words is something that we are going to discuss about understanding people's emotion. And the text was understanding. We are going to come back on it later on. What empathy means to you? I still want some other feedback. Maybe someone else before you.
Just one word.
Yeah, okay, go on.
Trust.
Sorry?
Having some trust in others' honesty.
Trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not about feelings.
Okay, Haga?
Empathy is also for me as well understand people what they feel, and sometimes to help them to manage these feelings and to help with their feelings.
I'm taking back also the second word, to help them. We are going to talk about it. Yeah. Anything also about empathy? Okay, I'm going to give my thoughts a bit more further now. What difference that you can make between empathy, sympathy, and compassion? But first of all, is there any difference according to you?
Empathy is understanding, sympathy is liking, compassion is wanting to help.
Yeah? Other thoughts? I'm just saying yes now. I'm taking it like this.
Now for us.
Any other thought?
Yeah.
I think to me, empathy is feeling other people's pain. Sympathy and doing something about it. Anyway, sympathy is I sympathize with you,
Yeah.
but not necessarily doing anything about it. You know, maybe when then compassion is about love, having compassion for others. It's just showing love towards others, and it can also bring about you giving out something or doing something as well. But sympathy is just, you know, you just sympathize with them, feel the way they do, and it might necessarily not mean you are giving something or doing something. In my own opinion, I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Otemi. Any other thought?
I think empathy usually has a goal, while sympathy could be affected by your thoughts or your feelings. It is also, it can't be used without sympathy or compassion. They're all related, but I think you start with empathy, which ideates the goal first, and then you sympathize to understand what's going on, and then you will build up compassion about the goal you're already initiating first. Okay.
In general, let's say we sometimes use this word interchangeable. Yeah, we don't make the difference between, but actually it's because the difference is really little. And now for the process of design thinking, we need some time to understand exactly what's the little difference between those terms and to also know exactly what are we doing at what moment. Like Lukasz mentioned, like empathy is to be able to put your shoes in other people's. I'm using the same the word that you use, like be at the place of the person, feeling the other people pain.
Yes.
Then you are like immerse. We usually do what they do. Immerse yourself. You are in this, and you feel that's a real empathy. Now the sympathy is just understanding, without being in the other people's position. I will take a case like someone lost his father.
Yeah.
You cannot empathize with people. You cannot put yourself in the person's position because if you have not lost your father. But you can be sympathetic by understanding what the person can feel in this situation. You just understand what the person is feeling, but you cannot be in this person's position. And then empathy, be in the person's position, feel the pain with the person. Sympathy, just understanding the person's feeling. And then the compassion is a step ahead of the both, taking action, doing something to let's say, to solve this person's problem. And we understand now that the design thinking process is combining this. You are trying to identify what are the problem, trying to put yourself in their case, trying to understand what is their problem, and then understanding exactly what is the problem, and then taking the step ahead to provide a solution on solving this problem. Now, why doctors shouldn't treat family members?
Conflict of interest. Because of
Conflict of interest, in which sense?
because you are very attached to the family member, and if okay, maybe it is not coming. It's, at some point you're very like emotionally attached to the person, and then if something goes wrong, then because of your emotions, then something can go wrong because you're very like
Make wrong decision.
yeah, you can take wrong decision. Yeah. You're not like objective. It is like subjective point of treatment.
When you were saying the difference, or like when you were giving a definition for empathy, sympathy, and compassion, when you talked about sympathy, it's, I think, I don't know, in my mind, it's related to the emotional intelligence, because this is what I read at least. It's really important to be emotional intelligent, because it means you have to understand, but you don't put yourself in the shoes of others. This is the definition of it, and I think it's related to the second question, because if you're a doctor and you have someone from family and you have to do this operation, as much how to say, like, you can be the most professional doctor in the world, but you're still a human being. You cannot be a objective.
Objective.
Yeah, you cannot. It's something. It's a natural thing. So in this thing, I think the doctor or anyone, he's not emotional. He's not emotional intelligent anymore. So he couldn't do it because he will put himself in the shoes of others. It's he cannot not do it. So I think it's like this. I got so emotional. It's okay.
Thank you, Sabra. Yes, other thought?
I
Yes.
think it depends on the case, depends on the situation. For example, in the OR, they don't usually allow the doctor, or they just have a talk. It's not in the law, but they usually not allow him or not provide or advise him to take a family member if it's an invasive operation, because it might be a lot of stress for him. It might disrupt the communication also. But if it's small cases, I think at least what my professors, I've seen with my professors, they treat old friends, they even have people coming after them after retirement because they trust them in their cases. So it's usually light cases like, for example, diabetes or chronic diseases like that. But in operations, I would strongly agree with you because it really affects you. Even as a family member who would like to come and be in the operation, even if he is a medic, he is not allowed to come if he is not in the hospital, if he is not in the team or our team. Talking about.
Any other thought? How can you then link these two aspects? Like, if you have to transpose this into the business, into someone, like in the business case where you have to design a solution to people's problem, how can you understand this concept related to empathy, sympathy, and compassion?
You mean the
If,
therapies?
let's say, putting another way, the question, answer the question is that how can this act, the empathy or sympathy, this process affect the way, the design thinking process?
You mean because if you are like the family member, you know the exact procedures in the, for example, business, right? And then if you will like contract external person and consultant, then this person can see like out of the box what is happening actually, because the person is not so deep dive in this procedures and things like that, and it's more objective. I will use again this word. You mean that, or?
Yeah, it might be like it's the case of related to a family member. It might also be that you have deeply went into empathy phase until becoming the customer itself, until becoming, if I take the case, the patient itself. And at the same time, you're supposed to be the one designing the solution to treat the problem or to solve the problem. Are you seeing any risk in this process, and how to avoid this risk?
You mean you empathize so much that you become that instead of becoming the person to find solution, you will become the person in need.
You start feeling as the person in need.
Yeah.
Then this relates now to the emotion, like the empathy phase. There's kind of, let's say, the line not to cross. You have to immerse yourself, but still keep the objective way. Then this is the main risk here. You have to keep being objective because we are experienced here. Because I had some experience like this when, generally in the area of medicine, where people were supposed to emerge to be able to understand the situation of patient, to design the let's say, to come up with a treatment for this, and they were so much immersed in the situation that then they became emotionally attached, and the solution that they were providing were not really, then they were not objective. Their role now was, I have to solve it no matter what scale. And also it's involved the issue of, there are some borders that you should not cross. Like ethic, sometimes it's involved ethic. Because your mind now will be finding a solution no matter what it costs. And then he's generally turned like the design thinking process that he was supposed to be at the end, like, okay, bringing a solution to be still in the context of solving the case, but it turned on that. That's why I'm trying to mention this. Okay, the empathy phase should be like taking consideration also, immerse, but keep the objective still be objective in the process. Any other question?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, thank you. These are the references of our presentation, the article from IDEO, the empathy of the age, IDEO workshop, and some links that we have on during our research. Yeah. Thank you.